Hi students, now we will read the last chapter of the book, Heritage Management. This is chapter 9 and is the last chapter of the book. Contents of this chapter are 9.1 Sources of History, their conservation and preservation, 9.2 Some famous museums, 9.3 Libraries and archives, 9.4 Encyclopedias. So let's start. The sources of history and all the history books that are available today are the results of the delight work of several historians. Institutes like libraries, museums, and archives conserve and preserve this precious historical heritage. They choose important specimens from the heritage collection and exhibit them. They also publish research journals, informative pamphlets, leaflets, posters, etc. The documents and artifacts which are not exhibited but historically very important are stored in the museums and archives after completing necessary treatments for their conservation and preservation. Those documents and artifacts are made available to researchers as and whenever necessary. Libraries conserve, preserve, and manage books. Section 9.1 Sources of History, their conservation and preservation. Each step, like collecting the sources of history, creating their records and indexes, exhibiting manuscripts, old books, and artifacts after completing necessary treatments requires very careful handling and management. It needs people with specific skills. Only trained persons who are duly qualified can take up these tasks. First, oral sources of history, collecting and compiling the folk songs and folk tales, etc. Classifying, analyzing, and interpreting the compiled material. Publishing the results of respective research. Necessary training. Number 1, sociology and anthropology. 2, social psychology. 3. Mythology and linguistics. 4th. Library science and information technology. 5. History and historical research method. 6. Writing of research reports and articles. Second, written sources of history. Collecting coins and copper plates with inscription on them. Documents like official records, personal correspondence, and diaries. Historical books, old books, manuscripts, pictures, photographs, etc. Completing necessary mechanical and chemical processes of cleaning for the conservation and preservation of collected documents. Ascertaining the historical value of collected documents. Exhibiting selected documents. Publishing edited documents and research reports. Necessary training. Knowledge of scripts like Brahmi, Modi, Persian, and their development. Second, basic knowledge of social organization and traditions, literature and culture, dynasties, administrative systems, etc. of past societies. Third, knowledge of various schools and styles of painting and sculptural art and history of their development. Fourth, knowledge of types of paper, ink, and colors. Fifth, knowledge of properties of various stones and metals used for inscriptions. Sixth, knowledge of the equipment and chemicals used in various processes of cleaning, conservation, and preservation. 7. Knowledge of various approaches of managing exhibitions in museums, galleries, and information technology. 8. Writing research reports and articles. Third, material sources of history. Collecting artifacts, classifying them according to their historical date and type and preparing indexes. completing necessary mechanical and chemical processes of cleaning for the conservation and preservation of collected documents, arranging exhibitions of selected artifacts or their replicas, writing and publishing research articles about collected artifacts, classifying fossils of plants and animals, and preparing indexes, exhibit, exhibiting selected fossils or their replicas, necessary training. First, basic knowledge of archaeological method and theory, history of ancient civilizations. Second, knowledge of the regional sources of materials like stones, minerals, metals, and clay used in the production of artifacts and their chemical properties. Third, knowledge of equipment and chemicals necessary for the cleaning of artifacts and other chemical processes. Fourth, knowledge of various schools and styles of arts and their development. Fifth, knowledge and skills of making replicas, models of artifacts, and fossils. Sixth, knowledge of various approaches of managing exhibitions in museums, galleries, and information technology. Seventh, writing research reports and articles. 9.2 Famous museums. Museums were created to organize and manage the antiques, antiquities collected by members of royal and elite families of medieval Europe. Louvre Museum, France. The Louvre Museum in France was established in the 18th century CE. Antiquities collected by members of the royal family were exhibited in the Louvre Museum. It, include, it included the much acclaimed painting of Mona Lisa. This is the Mona Lisa painting by Leonardo da Vinci, the world renowned artist. He worked under the patronage of I, Francis I, the King of France in the 16th century. The collection of Louvre Museum increased to a great extent because of the antiquities brought back by Napoleon Bonaparte from his conquest. Presently, the museum contains more than 3 lakhs and 80,000 artifacts. British Museum, England. The British Museum in London was established in the 18th century CE. Sir Hans Sloane, a natural scientist, handed over about 71,000 objects in his collection to the King of England, George II. It included several books, pictures, specimens of preserved plants, herbarium, etc. Later, the collection was expanded by addition of various art objects and ancient artifacts collected by the British people from British colonies. Presently, the museum collection comprises about 80 lakh objects. British Museum, England. This is the photograph. National Museum of Natural History, United States of America. This Museum of Natural History, managed by the Smithsonian Institute, was established in 1846 CE. It houses more than 12 crore 120 million specimens of fossils and remains of plants and animals, minerals, rocks, human fossils, and artifacts. This is the photograph of National Museum of Natural History. Museums in India. The first museum in India, Indian Museum, was established by Asiatic Society of Bengal in Kolkata in 1814 CE. The second museum in India, Government Museum, was established in Chennai in 1851 CE. The National Museum was established in Delhi 1914. Presently, there are several museums in various states of India. Usually, the big museums have their own archives and libraries. Some museums are affiliated to universities. Such museums also offer courses on museology. You would like to know these famous museums in India. The following are some of the famous museums in India. Indian Museum Kolkata, National Museum Delhi, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj वास्तु संग्रहालय मुंबई, Salar Jung Museum Hyderabad, the Calico Museum of Textiles Ahmedabad. Following are some of the well-known institutes and universities which offer degree and diploma courses in museology. First, National Museum Delhi. Second, Maharaj Shivaji Rao University Vadodara. Third, Kolkata University Kolkata. 3. BHU Banaras Hindu University Varanasi. Fifth, AMU Aligarh Muslim University Aligarh. Sixth, Jivaji University Gwalior. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya. In 1904 CE, some influential residents of Mumbai decided to establish a museum to commemorate the visit of Prince of Wales to India. In the month of November of 1905 CE, the foundation was laid of the museum building. It was decided that the name of, name of the museum would be Prince of Wales Museum of Western India. It was renamed as renamed as Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya in 1998 CE. This is the photograph of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya. The building of the museum is built in Indo-Gothic style. It has been given the status of Grade 1 heritage building in Mumbai. The museum houses about 50,000 antiquities divided into three categories: arts, archaeology, and natural history. 9.3 Libraries and Archives. Libraries are the storehouses of knowledge and information. Library science is very closely related to management science, information technology, and the field of education. Libraries perform various tasks like collecting books, arranging them systematically, conservation and preservation of those books, dissemination of information, sources, etc. Many of these tasks are completed with the help of computerized systems. To make a book available to a reader as per his requirement is the most important aspect of library management. The Royal Library of Ashurbanipal, 7th century BCE, the Assyrian emperor in Mesopotamia, the library at Takshashila University, 5th century BCE, 5th century CE, and the library in Alexandria, Egypt, 4th century BCE, are supposed to be the earliest libraries in the world. The Saraswati Mahal Granthalaya in Tanjavur, Tamil Nadu, was built in 16th to 17th century. During the times of Nayak dynasty in 1675 CE, Venkoji Raj, Venkoji Raje Bhosle, Venkoji Raje Bhosle conquered Thanjavur and established his independent rule. Venkoji Raje Bhosle and his successors kept expanding Saraswati Mahal Granthalaya. Sarfoji Raje Bhosle contributed the most in this expansion. In 1918, the library was renamed as the Thanjavur Maharaj Sarfoji's Saraswati Mahal Library in his honor. There are several noteworthy libraries in India. For instance, National Library Kolkata, Nehru Memorial Museum and Library Delhi, State Central Library Hyderabad, Library of Asiatic Society and David Sassoon Library Mumbai, etc. From the technical point of view, the management of archives is akin to library management, preserving documents with important content in their original condition, preparing indexes, and creating accurate systems of retrieval of documents are the important tasks in the management of archives. Documents from the archives are supposed to be very reliable. Because of the heavy dependency on computerized systems, information technology has become an inevitable part of the management of libraries and archives. The first official archives of India, the Imperial Record Department, was established in 1891 CE in Kolkata. It, it was shifted to Delhi in 1911 CE. In 1998 CE, the then President of India, Honorable K.R. Narayanan, opened the archives for public. It is a department under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Culture of the Indian government. The documents have been preserved here in a chronological order from 1748. It includes records in English, Arabic, Hindi, Persian, Sanskrit, and Urdu languages. It also includes records in Modi script. These records are classified in four categories: public records, Oriental studies, manuscripts, and private records. Governments of every state in India maintain independent archives. The archives of Maharashtra state government has branches in Mumbai, Pune, Kolhapur, Aurangabad, and Nagpur. There are about 5 crore Modi documents related to Maratha history in the Pune branch. These documents are referred to as Peshwa Daftar. Section 9.4 Encyclopedias. Encyclopedia is a systematic compilation of information or knowledge of various topics. The information or knowledge in an encyclopedia is arranged with a specified method. Organizing available knowledge and making it accessible is the main objective of encyclopedias. Benefits of encyclopedia. Encyclopedias make vast volume of knowledge accessible to readers. It can help in satisfying their curiosity. Encyclopedias provide fundamental information on any topic in order to understand it properly. Thus, the reader gets motivated to read extensively. Encyclopedias make the existing knowledge easily accessible to scholars and researchers and also highlight the research areas which have not yet received enough attention. Encyclopedias are indicators of the state of cultural ripeness of a society. The intellectual and cultural needs of a society determine what kind of encyclopedic literature would be created. Accuracy, meticulousness, objectivity, standardized format of presentation, and updated information are the criteria for designing a structure of an encyclopedia. In order to incorporate the latest available information, revised editions of encyclopedias or supplements to original editions need to be published. Encyclopedias are arranged either in alphabetical order or according to the order of topics. The type of order is decided by keeping the convenience of readers in mind and the ease of accessibility to the information. An index at the end of the encyclopedia is very convenient in this regard. The encyclopedia can be created either by a single editor or an editorial committee. The articles in the encyclopedia are written by subject experts. Types of encyclopedia. Encyclopedias can be approximately divided into four types: dictionaries, comprehensive encyclopedia, Vishwakosh. Third, encyclopedic kosh sadrush, kosha kosh sadrush, literature. Fourth, indexes. 1. Dictionaries. Dictionaries arrange the words in a language in certain order. Alphabetical order is more common. It gives meaning of words, synonyms and antonyms. Etymology. There are various types of dictionaries. Comprehensive dictionaries, dictionaries which include only certain types of words. Dictionaries of terminology deals with terms peculiar to a branch of knowledge. Etymology dictionaries, thesaurus, dictionaries of idioms and proverbs, etc. Second, comprehensive encyclopedia, Vishwakosh. There are two types of Vishwakosh. A. It includes all subjects under the sun, for example, Encyclopedia Britannica, Maharashtra, Danayak, Gyankosh, Marathi, Vishwakosh, etc. B. It includes comprehensive information on the chosen subject, for example, Bhartiya Samskruti Kosh, Vyayam Gyanakosh, etc. Third, encyclopedic Kosh Sadrush literature. It is similar to an encyclopedia which comprises scholarly articles providing information on all possible aspects of one or more predetermined subjects. For example, Maratha Jivan, Volume 1 and 2, Sahar Pune, Volume 1 and 2, Yearbook, Manorama, Times of India, etc. Fourth, indexes. An index usually occurs at the end of a book. Indexes are the alphabetical lists of individuals, subjects, places, keywords, reference books, etc. For example, the index of Marathi periodicals prepared by SG Date indexes are helpful in the finding required information and it makes the information in a book easily accessible. Encyclopedia and history. Encyclopedia and history as academic exercises put stress on objectivity. Encyclopedias published in various countries and in various languages may differ in their approach because of different priorities. Their structure is influenced by national policies, ethical values, and ideas. Encyclopedias can be a medium of strengthening national identity. For example, Bharatiya Samskruti Kosh, edited by Mahadev Shastri Joshi, making knowledge in all spheres of life accessible to everybody, can be one of the major drives behind the creation of encyclopedias. An aspiration to gain and spread knowledge motivates either individuals or a group of people to create encyclopedias. Hence, encyclopedias are looked upon as outstanding achievements of a society. It is the manifestation of the collective intellect and creativity of a society. Do you know the following are the early encyclopedias? Number 1, Natural History was the first encyclopedia by Pliny the Elder, 1st century AD. Second, Encyclopedia, the encyclopedia by Diderot, the French philosopher of the 18th century CE. Third, Encyclopedia Britannica. This encyclopedia was first published in 1767 CE. This is supposed to be an important milestone in the making of encyclopedia. There is an ancient tradition of dictionaries like Nigantu, Sabdkosh, etc. The encyclopedic works of Mahanubhav sect Raja Vyavahar Kosh, Raja Vyavahar Kosh, prepared during the region of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj are important in the books of medieval period. Encyclopedias on history related subjects. There is a rich tradition of creating encyclopedias on history related subjects. भारतवर्षीय प्राचीन ऐतिहासिक कोश by Raghunath Bhaskar Godbole. 1876 is the earliest encyclopedia of this kind. It includes information about various individuals and places in ancient India. According to the editor, those individuals who lived in Bharatvarsha earned a name for themselves and were part of us along with their women, their sons, their religions, their lands and capitals, also the rivers and mountains in their lands, whatever their history is given in the encyclopedia. 23 volumes of Maharashtra Gyankosh edited by Sridhar Venkatesh Ketkar are available. The major drive for Ketkar in creating it was to facilitate wider access to knowledge and to expand the intellectual sphere of Marathi speaking people. His far reaching view of history, which is reflected in these volumes. Bharatvarshya Charitrakosh is another important encyclopedia. Siddheshwar Shastri Chitrao established a committee known as Bharatiya Charitrakosh Mandal for publishing this encyclopedia. Three volumes were published, namely Bharatvarshiya Prachin Charitrakosh 1932, Bharatvarshiya Madhyayugin Charitrakosh 1937 and Bharatvarshiya Arvachin Charitrakosh 1946. The first volume includes information on the lives of individuals mentioned in the Vedic literature, including Shruti, Smruti, Sutras, Vedangas, Upanishads, also Puranas, Jain and Buddhist literature. Similarly, other two volumes contain biographies of individuals in the respective periods. Do you know some special encyclopedias? संगीत शास्त्रकार व कलावंत यांचा इतिहास लक्ष्मण दत्तात्रय जोशी सेकंड क्रांती काराकांचा चरित्रकोश SR Date. It contains biographies and illustrations of about 250 Indian revolutionaries. Third, स्वतंत्र स्वतंत्रया सैनिक Charitrakosh, N.R. Pathak. It contains the biographies of those who suffered corporal punishment, imprisonment, and those who devoted their life for independence movement. Sthalakosh. Geographic information is essential for historical studies. Encyclopedias give information about historical places are available. Sthana Pothi, 14th century CE, is an encyclopedic text which is composed by Muni Vyas of Mahanubhav sect. It describes all those places visited by Chakradhar Swami, the founder of Mahanubhav sect. It gives us an inkling about Maharashtra in those days. It also gives details about the time, place, and background of the events described in Leela Charitra. Hence, it is very good source for writing about the life of Chakradhar Swami. Second, Prachin Bharatiya Sthalakosh 1969. Siddheshwar Shastri Chitrav compiled this encyclopedic book. It provides information about various places mentioned in Vedic literature, Kautilya Arthashastra, Panini's grammar, Valmiki Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas, medieval Sanskrit literature and Shabdkosh. Also in Jain and Buddhist literature, in Greek, Chinese, Persian literature. Vishwakosh. The first Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Honorable Sri Yashwantrao Chauhan, initiated the compilation of Marathi Vishwakosh through Maharashtra Rajya Sahitya Samskruti Mandal with a view to enhance the sphere of Marathi language and literature. The work was started under the guidance of Tark Tirth, Tarthi, Tar, Tark Tirth Lakshman Shastri Joshi. It contains knowledge about all possible subjects in the world. It also contains very important entries about history. Bharatiya Samskruti Kosh. 10 volumes of Bharatiya Samskruti Kosh were edited and published by Mahadev Shastri Joshi. These volumes contain information about Indian history, geography, various ethnic and lingual groups, local history of those groups, their festivals, and other cultural aspects. Samdanya Kosh. There are encyclopedic texts explaining the terminology, for instance, coloni- coloni- colonialism, globalization, etc., of history. Such texts are very useful for the teachers of history. School, college, and university teachers of history can find ample opportunities in the field of publication of encyclopedias. Encyclopedias of all types require experts in history. Every subject has a developmental history. Scholars of history can contribute significantly to encyclopedias of various types. After studying this textbook, you must have noted that with specialization in history, one can get access to several career opportunities in various fields. You can choose your future career with the help of information in this textbook. Thank you. This is the end of lesson. Exercises will be done separately. Thank you.